All right, welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for making the stage purple.
You're welcome. I want to jump into it and talk about the news that's going on right now. Just this week, we heard Facebook announced a cryptocurrency initiative. Investors got pretty spooked on the news. For Western Union, the stock took a dive. It dropped something like 2.5%. What's your reaction to what's going on, Hikmet?
Well, it was only an announcement, right? I don't know how the business model looks like. I just saw the white paper this morning, looking at it. It's definitely something interesting, something innovative. Many payments institutions are also part of it. But the question is, are the people going to use it? It talks about the inclusion, financial inclusion. I don't know, you have to be in the streets of Cairo, streets of Nairobi, and acceptance of Libra there, or is it seen as a coin? I think, and how is the wallet seen? That all these things is an open question. It's a long shot, I believe. It took us not 168 years, but it took us many, many years to build a global system which moves about $300 billion every year in 137 currencies with the multi-settlement programs, 33 transactions every second. It's something. And we have 150 million customers, and our customers are financially included. They are not the Louis Vuitton users, or they are not Ferrari drivers. They are real customers who are on the streets of Cairo, who are on the streets of Delhi and Bangladesh, and they support their loved ones. And they leave their countries, go to Saudi Arabia, hard-earned money, and send back real fiat cash. So the kids can go to a school, have a better life than they have it. I think that's financial inclusion, and we've been doing that for many, many years. So let's see how that works. But it's, we are still studying the white paper. It's definitely some interesting idea.
It's unclear about how exactly it's going to be implemented, but the core idea of it, which is that they're going to basically reduce remittance fees to zero, this must pose an existential threat to Western Union's business. That's the core of the operation for your company.
Well, if you move money in $300 billion, right, every year, it's only a part of our costs are moving money in 137 currencies. It's not the main cost we have. The main cost is really serving the customer on the last mile. I don't know many companies or many CEOs like me who took a plane, went to Tajikistan, and made a negotiation with the central bank. You have to do that, and then you have to really open the network. You have to invest in the brand, and the brand investment is all about trust. Somebody makes money in the streets of New York and sends money to Jamaica. Trust that $500 that's sent to Jamaica is really built on trust. It's important that this money arrives in Jamaica in a trusted way, with all the anti-money laundering checks, and with all that the money is delivered in minutes in the right way. And that's the real cost. That's unwanted cost, the regulatory cost, the moving money in different currencies. I mean, we are pretty much in master on that. Actually, if you collect money in dollars, we give a 10-digit number called MTCN number. And if you send the money to Philippines, we pay out the same number in MTCN number. It's actually, we create the first digital currency, because we turn the dollar to MTCN number, which is a Western Union coin, stable coin, and pay out in pesos. And we do that for 40 years. And that works, and it's all done electronically, by the way. We don't carry cash from one location to a location. So, and the settlement is done overnight. With the banking fees are really not that high that we can replace with something new. The real costs of the remittances are really the distribution of that, the regulation of that, and not the process behind that. For us, not. I mean, if you enter new to the market, there are some entry costs.
Luann, I'm going to pass it to you in just a minute, but I want to just drill down just a little bit more on this. What do you think is the likelihood that Facebook's project succeeds at its stated goal?
Again, 24 hours ago, I mean, David Marcus is a great guy. The people also supporting are really payments experts. I think when you talk about financial inclusion, you really have to understand the needs of the customer. This thing doesn't work in a corner office. Fintech is, for me, fintech, 50% fin, 50% tech. You have to combine that. And the combination of that is really the needs of the customer. If you talk about 1.7 billion underserved customers, you have to really understand that. And we have customers from 200 countries, 150 million of them. And our biggest, if you put US, most of our revenue is 80% is out of the US. Our biggest country is 5% of our revenue. This number 6 country is already only 2% of our revenue. Number 7 is 1% of our revenue. That diverse we are. That multi-currencies we have. So that has to be understood by Libra. And Libra is, I believe, more a payment system. It's not the last mile. How do you take that currency, translate to fiat currency? Still, you need a system like Western Union then for that.
All right, well, Luann, I've got some questions for you as well. You need no introduction. Brian Moynihan was on the stage earlier talking you up. But let's talk about mobile payments. There are a lot of different apps out there, a lot of different choices people have. Venmo came out in 2009, or it was founded in 2009. Square Cash came out in 2013. Zelle is 2 years old. You're a little bit late to the game, no?
Well, I would say look at our numbers. In first quarter, we had $39 billion transferred via Zelle, 147 million transactions. We have about 94 million consumers who've registered tokens in our databases. So I think it just depends on your view of the world. Now, we have a long way to go. With only 400 financial institutions signed up to participate in Zelle, and only 160 of those are live today, it's pretty nascent for us even after 2 years. So, our goal is that we get all of those financial institutions participating in Zelle so their consumers can.
You've got a bunch of owners of early warning systems, big banks. You're basically a servant of 7 masters. How does that go over when you're sort of taking orders from all these different big banks?
Well, an early warning wasn't a well-known company until 2 years ago. We've always been in the background. Past 30 years, we've been a fraud and risk management company, and our success is in the collaboration between financial institutions.
We use you, by the way.
Sorry?
We use you. We are a client of early warning.
Absolutely, and we're trying to increase our business, as we discussed in the green room. But
deals get made at Brainstorm Finance.
But it is that Hikmet uses that very traditional.
I have a contract here.
Hey, I thought it went the other way. Hikmet uses our very traditional payment, fraud, and risk management. So that's the basis that we were born on. And Zelle, too, I think our financial institutions, much like you heard Brian say, it's about taking checks and cash out of the system. And Brian can't do that if other banks' customers are still writing checks that get deposited in his bank. So it's really about taking cost out of the banking system.
So, given the competitors that you have that have been out longer, I'd like to know how you plan to evolve the product to kind of stay nimble, stay agile, stay ahead of the others, especially when you've got this weird situation where it's a very new product, but you're coming from some very old institutions.
Right, sure. And in fact, most of the customers actually try Zelle for the very first time because it's offered by their financial institution. So over 70%
Has anybody
of
used
customers.
Zelle in the room? Yep. Okay. About half.
And about half of our new customers are Gen Xers, older Gen Xers, and baby boomers. So a lot of the launch of Zelle has been teaching individuals how they would use such a product, such as P2P. But we're not stopping there, right? I think Zelle's most recognized for our P2P service, but we also provide corporate disbursements. So home claims paid out immediately right into your checking account. Car claims paid out immediately right into your checking account. Financial aid, emergency funds for victims of storms paid through Zelle. But where I believe some of the biggest growth is going to come is small business. 59 billion transactions a year to small businesses that are check and cash. And that's really our target. That's where we're going to grow.
So let's shift that question to you, Hikmet. Your company, as mentioned, is 168 years young, as you like to say. What is your approach to innovation?
Well, obviously we have a DNA, 168 years young DNA, which we basically cannibalize our own business every time. We innovate for 168 years. That's why we are such a resilient business. That's why we all still grow, right? Unbelievable opportunities still. Our approach to innovation is very simple. We listen to the voice of the customers. They tell us. We don't develop on the corner offices innovation. We invite our customers to our offices, actually, and they attend management meetings. And they tell us, because especially our voice of our customers are not heard from many, many people. They're migrants. There are about 270 million migrants worldwide. They don't have any flag. They don't have any constitution. They don't have any voice. And I feel a kind of a voice for the migrant population, and we do listen to them, and they tell us what the next need is. I tell you one thing, they told us that many customers, they want to use Amazon. And many customers can't use Amazon worldwide because they don't have international cards. They have local currencies. So Amazon and we built this new product called Amazon Pay by Code. We don't even use Western Union name. It's a white label product. People buy from their phone in Philippines, globally via mobile phone, shop online, and pay locally with their local currency. We collect the money in our locations. Amazon sends them there. And then the purchase is immediately sent to them. That's an innovation by listening to the Filipino customers. They told us, we want to shop there. Can you help us? So
you've dabbled with blockchains in your past and cryptocurrencies as well. How did that work out for you?
I think we are still investing there. We have our own group, invest only on the blockchain and on the cryptocurrency. We did also a test with Ripple, and we are still doing it. And
it's still ongoing.
Still ongoing. We are looking at it, and we are really learning from Ripple.
You said a year or so ago when you were using Ripple's product that it was, quote, still too expensive. You didn't see.
Yeah, I mean, we are in a different. They just announced with MoneyGram, as you know, yesterday or the day before, an announcement that they're investing there. And
they took an activist-sized investor's stake in MoneyGram.
Yes.
10%.
And obviously, we are in a different position than MoneyGram. We have our own settlement system, which is extremely cost efficient. Today, it showed us, as we do in the test, it's 5 times more expensive doing with a cryptocurrency, with a stable currency like Ripple. But it's others. For us, it's different. But I just saw Brad before coming to this meeting. I said, hey, Brad, we are still in talking. I congratulate him to this deal. Obviously, MoneyGram needed something, and Ripple needed something. That sounds a good deal. But for us, it's currently, we are pretty much okay with our settlement system. We can move money in a way that nobody can move it, so that works. But look, hey, I'm open. Any cost savings, any innovation, I'm there. I have, we can sign a deal tomorrow.
In the annals of business history, if you look back in the 1800s, it's been said that Alexander Graham Bell, he wanted to sell his patents at one point. He was going to sell the telephone patents to Western Union. Western Union didn't see the value. They turned it down. Are we going to see something like that right now with cryptocurrency and blockchain? Is that what's happening?
Well, I think we have to really differentiate between cryptocurrency from consumer use cases and cryptocurrency as a payment stable currency. I really believe cryptocurrency and blockchain as a processing system doing the payments has future, and we believe on that also. I think our innovation guys really are excited about that. Western Union definitely won't miss it. We believe that we are on the head of the innovation, otherwise we don't grow. But I am not sure that any government, any central bank will want to control their currencies. Look, nations are here, they have their own constitution, they have their borders, they have their own economies, and they have their currencies. And I'm not sure if you want to issue a currency which is overruling the central bank currency will go forever. You have to work with the central banks. You have to understand that the European Union Central Bank or you have to understand Indonesian Central Bank needs, Indonesian economy needs. Why do they want to control their currency?
I could talk all day about this. I want to turn to the audience for questions. I'm going to ask one quick question of our panelists before doing so. Get your questions ready. Luann, prediction, make a prediction for us. Next 5 years, how are payments going to change?
Wow. I believe the combination of authentication and the payment writing together, which is an interesting thing when you think about blockchain technology. Always in the past, those two things have been very separate. If you want to move money fast, they have to be at the same time and combined. And I think the way that we authenticate ourselves as consumers, as merchants in the process is going to change and enable even faster movement of money.
Faster. All right. Hikmet, same question to you. very quickly. Next 5 years, what happens in payments?
I think the instant payment is something big, which we do it. I think that not only dropping money globally on an account or on a cash. I think it's really also wallets. Local wallets will be big. It's not about the international wallets owned by big corporations. The local wallets issued by local people. I think you have to bring the connection and have that instant payment and instant clearing and instant anti-money laundering, instant settlement is a big thing. And companies who invest on that blockchain could be one thing. Who invest in that and the technology will succeed.
So the acceleration of everything. All right, I saw a question back here. Well, let's keep it tight so maybe we can get into it.
Understanding all the AML and compliance pieces, but I was wondering why...
What's your name, by the way? Name and company?
Hadley Stern. I was wondering why it's so much more expensive to send money via Western Union than via Bitcoin or some other cryptocurrencies.
Did you try to send money to Egypt via Bitcoin or cryptocurrency? It's not possible. So you have pay out, once again, let me tell that. We are an end-to-end payment system country. You collect money in dollars from your mobile phone. And I can drop money immediately in Egypt in Egyptian pound. All the way, it's done collecting the funds, paying out in making the anti-money laundering in the send side, understanding the customer needs, anti-fraud activities, paying out in pounds in the last mile in Egypt, and overnight settling with the bank is a big thing. So it costs money. That's an operation behind that. And doing that in 137 currencies and doing 33 transactions every second costs some money. Our prices changes also to the customer needs, right? I mean, you can send money, for instance, here from your mobile phone to India in an account with zero fee. We do only in FX. It's because it's a competitive market. But you can send money to somewhere else, which is, more rural areas. You have to pay out in cash. It's more expensive. So it's really much cost related.
You've got a lot of regulations to comply with. Let's see if we've got one more question back here. And give your name and company as well.
Yeah, Renee from Zelle. Hikmet, a question for you. As you said, one of your big assets are sort of having these storefronts in the streets of Cairo and Nairobi. And I wonder if that, if you think strategically about other use cases beyond sort of the pure payments use case, having that kind of network is powerful. Do you ever think about kind of other industries?
Renee has a cryptocurrency startup, CeeLo. He's asking what else you can use your footprint, your global footprint of retail stores for.
I think that's, as you heard from Amazon, we collect funds for Amazon. I'm sure that there are other retail markets globally want to collect funds. By the way, you don't have to collect in cash. You have to collect in local currency. You can call it, we do also collect with cards, debit card, local, let's say, stay in Egypt. I don't know why today Egypt, but Egyptian pounds, issued Egyptian pound prepaid cards, we collect there. I think the collection of the funds is a big thing. So what we do is today, C2C is our major business. We started with C2B. Businesses who want to collect international funds from consumers, it's a big business for us, and we are investing there.
All right, well, before we wrap, Hikmet, you've been all over the world in many different places. What is the most beautiful, most lovely location you visited in all your travels?
Castellerizzo in Greece. That's a small island just on the opposite side of my beloved Turkey, where I was born and raised in Istanbul. And it's a small island. Even there are about 10 locations. There are about, I don't know, about 150 people. But, I would say that I've been personally visiting about 89 countries. My son and me do on the map. And I have to say that, all where our customers are, I love that. Africa is big for me, for instance.
Luann, I know Zelle is just US-based, but what's your destination of choice?
I tell you, there's nothing more beautiful to me than the Caribbean islands. That's my dream destination anytime I get time off for Zelle.
Excellent. Well, mine is Montauk. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.